So hello and welcome everyone. If you guys have started joining in, just you can drop in a quick hi or a hello on the chat. So I'll be knowing that you guys are available and I'm audible as well at the same time. We're gonna wait for a couple of more minutes so that everybody else also joins in. So meanwhile, if you guys have any questions, please feel free to drop in a text on the chat box. I'm monitoring it so we can have those questions answered in the meanwhile. So please utilize this time. So guys, hello and good evening again. So if you guys have started joining in, just drop a hello or a hi on the chat so that we can be aware that you guys are in and we are good to start. Meanwhile, as always, if you guys have any questions, please feel free to drop in a text on the chat box. We can always talk, right? So we can utilize the time in the meanwhile. So we are going to wait for one more minute to let everybody else also join in. So meanwhile, we can have any questions if you guys have related to your course, to your content, to the previous lectures, whatever you have. So we can definitely talk on that. Okay, so then in that case, let's start with our session today, right? So I'll just quickly introduce myself. As you guys know, my name is Arpit Jain, and I'm a senior data scientist myself. I've been into industry for more than 8 years now, and I've been into multiple industries in per that say. So I've been into banking sectors. I was in a cloud domain, then I was in an automobile manufacturing sector, then right now I'm in a telecommunication industry. So I've seen people, I've seen work, I've seen the data across multiple industries and how the new tools and tech have evolved with the time, right? So yes, if you have any questions regarding that area that towards your data science journey, so maybe I can be able to help you in that, right? And I'm also a motivational speaker, so I talk to people, I take their career mentorships, I guide them towards their career goals, and if you have any questions in that area as well, always feel free to drop in a text, right? So we can always talk. So subjects, as you are aware, we have started with Python. So Python, we have started with the basic functionalities of Python. So we have started with functions, and we have covered the advanced functions as well. So which is towards your Lambda part, and we are going really deep in that. We are taking each and every important, or I would say most frequent functions one by one, and we're trying to understand the complexities involved in that, right? And we have also agreed to talk about the machine learning or the data science part of Python, so which is towards your pandas, numpy, sklearn, matplotlib, and all that. So we've started with pandas. So as per agreement, so as per your suggestions also, guys, so we have started with as you know, pandas over the master classes on the weekends. So we're going to talk about pandas again towards this weekend most, so that's what I wanted to say, right? So we left on the last weekend or something, so we're going to carry it forward from there. And yeah, on the weekdays we are talking about the Python stuff, right? And once that is done, we're going to go towards the PySpark, so which is a big data component of Python towards your distributed computation. So we'll talk about them as well, right? So yes, as always, you can get the Unacademy Pro subscription. So which, and if you use the code which is available on the screen right now, Python 10, you can get a 10% off for the same, right? So now, why exactly you need this Pro subscription, right? So time for the promotional pitch. Right, so this is basically for all those people who are software developer or want to become a software developer, right? So basically, Unacademy brings you a platform where you can watch some of the shows which are live, okay? And that's actually gonna help you a lot in your, your placement drives, your questions, your interview stuff, and all that, right? So there are good shows which are coming live, which are actually coming up on Unacademy platforms. Some of them are like the hiring updates from the big tech companies or the startups, and you can get about their eligibility criteria, their processes, and all that. So you'll be having a fair understanding of what to expect from the companies, whether it be or a startup or a tech company, right? So you can always get an update from them. How to approach the code chef. So you already know what are the challenges involved with the code chef. So you will be knowing what are the right things you should be doing to approach the code chef problem statements. And then you're going to have the pre-placement talks. So pre-placement talks where the HRs from the big such companies will be coming up and talking to you, and they'll be explaining their hiring processes, right? So you can get to know what to expect from these companies and when you'll be going for your placements, right? So that's the right way to actually be prepared with that. So if you're aware of what sort of things you're going to be facing in that interviews towards your placement, so that's going to help you a lot to prepare yourself mentally as well as technically, right? And then on top of this, you're going to have a set of top 20 questions which are most frequently asked, right? So, and along with that, you will be having a fair, updates on the answers as well. So how you're going to approach those questions. So that's definitely going to make a impact in your overall candidature. On top of this, also you have a real life projects, a live problem solving session. So where you'll be doing a real life project, so more closure to your professional experience, right? And then at the same time, you'll be having a support on the live problem solving. So if you have any doubts, anything, any questions which are stuck, so you can always talk to your mentors for a live problem solving sessions. And then at the on top of this, also you have a life journey of your fellow coders, right? So fellow coders from the big companies such as Facebook, Amazon, Apple, Netflix, Google, so the big companies, right? So what do you expect? How you can land up in such companies, right? So you can talk to these fellow coders and understand what is the expectation from these big guns, and what are you expected to do to change in your profiles to land up in such job, right? And also definitely you'll be having an option to talk to one of the mentors online for an online mock interview, right? So you'll be having an option to interact with industry leaders for the online mock interviews, and you know the importance of online mock interview, right? So how important it is before you actually go for your real interview. So that's gonna make the impact again. So you should be having a fair feedback given to you, like what areas you are lagging and what is your strong area, what is your weak section, and then definitely a few suggestions on top of that, how you can improve on top of this, right? So for all of this you have to just pay INR 999 for about an year of subscription. But again, so if you use the code available on your screen, which is Python 10, you're gonna get it for 10% off, which is 899 only. Right, so one of the shows which is actually going live every Friday 10 p.m. So that is with Mr. Vikramaditya. He's one of the top YouTuber of the country, Strivo. right? So he's taking up the projects, he's taking up actually the show on the college project. So if you want your college project to tick all the right boxes, right, and if you want to land up in a good internship post your college, right, so and you want to get your college projects reviewed, right, or maybe a few suggestions, a few alterations, whatever you want to have an update on the college projects, right? So Mr. Raj Vikramaditya, he's going live for your Friday night at 10 p.m. for your live sessions. So, and that's again as part of your developers subscription only, right? So for this you have to pay 999 an year, and then definitely Python 10 gonna give you 10% off. So that's again one of the very good opportunity, and I would say that can make an impact in your college projects as well. Right, so as always, do not forget to join the official Telegram channel of Codeverse, so where you can get the live updates of all the programs, all the learnings going around on the channel, and with the timings and the updates, you'll be really updated here, and you'll follow up the things. You'll never miss any important updates. So do join the I would say the official channel for the live updates. Do not forget to like, share, subscribe, download the application, and yes, bell icon is a must. Please do that, so we'll be having an update for the upcoming videos. Right, so that's from the promotional perspective. Let's jump into our content slide, guys. Right, so I hope you guys have started joining in. So hi Anirban, good evening. I hope you're doing well. You were, I think, unavailable yesterday. I hope you might have followed the session, right? But it's okay. If you guys have any question, or if you have any question, Anirban, please do drop in a text, right? Or I hope everybody else also have started joining in. So just drop a hello or a hi on the chat, so we can talk. And if you guys have any questions meanwhile as well, right? I'm still all ears, always happy to talk. Please interact as much as you can, utilize the time, right? So we can talk. Okay, so just a quick recap, guys. We have covered the functions part. It's nothing but a chunk of code which perform the similar set of operations, right? We've already known it. We have already seen it, and we are defining it with def, with a name of your function, and then the parenthesis with additional arguments followed by your code lines, right? Why are you doing it? To reduce your chances of code errors, to optimize your code length and all that, right? So that's definitely one thing we are looking forward to, and that's going to help you out to solve same set of operations which are performed multiple times, multiple places in your code, right? So that's something which we have already seen. We have seen a lot of examples as well. And as per the suggestion, we have also started with the Lambda functions, right? So which is the advanced part of functions. I wouldn't say an advanced. I would say more of a anonymical way of representing the function. So here Lambda is nothing but an inline function, where the syntax is like Lambda, the keyword Lambda, Lambda, then followed by your arguments and then the expressions, right? So as you know, guys, arguments, in the Lambda we can give multiple arguments, as many arguments as you want, but most importantly the expressions of my Lambda can only take a single expression. So it's a one-liner code, it cannot go beyond than that, right? So now the question is when to use Lambda and when not to use, right? So that was again a one question. So it's always important to have the Lambda codes written where the logical expressions are simpler, right? So where the codes are more readable. So where you can accommodate your whole computation which you want to do on the code on a single code line, right? So if the code requires multiple lines of operation, then it's a bad place to use Lambda. Always remember that, right? So Lambda is not good for a complex operations. So for complex operations, you have to go back and use the standard functionalities of functions, like using the def and then writing your stuff. Cool, guys. So that's what we have covered from the content perspective, and we have been talking mostly from the codes, mostly from the examples, right? So let's quickly jump towards your example. Where is that, guys? Cool. So here is it. Right, so we have been talking a lot of things on Lambdas, right? So and I have told you there are a lot of functionalities of Lambda which we generally use in our day-to-day coding environment. So when we work, right, so a lot of things which we use. So some of the important functionalities are filter, map, reduce, sorting, and as well as apply, right? So now from till this point of time, we have seen the application of filter function and as well as few aspects of map, right? So as you know, filter by logical meaning what it says, right? So it filters out the things which is not needed, or vice versa, it filters in the things which is your point of interest, right? So either way is fine. So filtering out is basically giving you the elements of the collection which is actually needed for your computation, which is actually the output of your computation, right? So if you have, say, n elements, so definitely the output would be the number of elements lesser than n. So it will be n minus 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever, but it will not be n, right? So the number of elements will reduce. That's the meaning of filter. That's why you're doing a filter, right? So you're removing the unwanted things, right? And then on the contrary, we have map. So in map, the important thing to note is the number of elements of my collection will remain the same. If I have, say, n elements, the number of elements after the application of map will remain the same. But here what we're trying to do is we are completely changing my collection itself, right? So for example, I have a list and the numbers are like, say, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And now I want every element of list to be added by 1, right? So every element has to be added by 1. So what I'm doing right now is my input is a raw list, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and output is a mutated list, is a different list where every element has been added with 1, right? So 1 plus 1 is 2. So the final list would be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? So every element has been added by 1, right? So that's what map does. So map, what it does, it takes an input of a collection and gives an output of another collection, which is the mutated form of the input collection. Okay, and what changes you want to do, that's what you're going to pass it through the function, right? So what exactly you want to do with that collection, right? So that's what it means. So filter on the other side reduces the elements. Map, it keeps your number of elements intact, but rather maps your input collection to a different collection depending on the function which you're applying on top of it. Okay, so we have seen few functionalities or on filters. Let's move to map. Okay, so I think this is what, and this is still where we have we did our yesterday's session. So here you guys remember, right? So we had a number of lists, so an input list here, so which is saying -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2, any number, right? And now here, instead of passing any lambda, right? So ideally we would have seen, so instead of giving float as a direct functionality, through lambda we would have done like this, right? So like map and then lambda of x, say x, and then I would have done, say, if I'm to do float, right? So float of x, right? And then I would have given the numbers. This is the ideal way of representing it, right? Through lambda. But since we've also seen that float is an inbuilt function, guys, right? So it's an inbuilt function. So yes, definitely float can be passed directly as well. Okay, no need to further complicate the code, no need to write lambda x float x, not needed. You can also pass the direct inbuilt functionality on top of your map function. Okay, so that's what one thing which we have realized yesterday. And yeah, we have to make sure that it's an inbuilt function, or else, you know, we'll see to that. But if it's an inbuilt function, we can pass it directly. So that's what we have understood, and it did our job. And yes, it has changed to -2 to -2.0. So this means that, okay, this is expecting some decimals value also, right? Although number wise the value won't change, but yes, the data type from num int has been changed to float, right? So that's what we have understood yesterday also. Or maybe we can take one more example. Like, for example, so I have some negative values here, right? So what if I want to change everything to positive? Can I use abs here? So absolute is again another function which is converting all the negative to positive, right? So again, you can see abs, abs, absolute, nothing but on the otherwise. So abs is again an inbuilt function. So we have this keyword turned green, right? So this is your highlighter, this is your eye opener, where you can see that yes, it's an inbuilt functionality. Okay, if it is not, it wouldn't have turned green. So you might have to pass a user defined function in that case, right? So the direct inbuilt functionality won't work. For example, suppose, say, I'm doing mean, right? So MEAN, right? Did you see mean did not turn green? So mean is not an inbuilt functionality. It should give me an error, and it gave me an error. It says mean is not defined, right? So mean is not a direct function available. So mean is under some of your libraries. It is under NumPy as well. It is under math as well. So a lot of libraries have written mean there as one of their functions. So we can import mean from those library packages, but we have seen that mean is not an inbuilt function. That is the reason why it is not turned green, and we have got an error here. Cool, guys. So one thing. Now let's jump to another question, which is again a good one. Okay, so I have prepared this. Okay, so now I have two numbers, 1 and 2. Okay, so I have two lists, 1 and 2. So 1 has 3 elements, 1, 2 and 3, and the second list 2 has 4, 5, 6 and 7, 4 elements. Okay, so the length of elements are different in two lists. Okay, so now what I want the power of the number. So what I want, the first list, which is 1, 2, 3, taking as the values 4, 5, 6 and 7 to be power of them respectively. So what I want, the output should be something like this. So what I want an output to be like, say 1 to the power of to the power of 4, and then 2 to the power of 5 likewise. Got it? So this is what I want. Okay, so I want the first list to be taken as the base and the second list to be taken as the exponent. Okay, so I can do it in either ways. I can maybe create a function also. Okay, so doing the similar thing, or again in this Python we have something called as POW. Okay, so we have something called as POW as your function. Okay, directly available. Again, you can see this, it has turned green, so which is available. Now the important thing to note here, guys. Okay, so you can see this. Under this POW, I'm passing two arguments. Okay, so ideally you would have seen under map, I'm only passing two arguments, right? So the function and the collection directly, but under map, now I'm passing three arguments, right? So one is my function, which is POW, power, okay, vice versa, and then I'm passing 1 and 2, two different lists. Okay, so a quick question, guys, what do you think this should run, or this should give me an error? Just a quick guess also is fine. Okay, so a mistake is also acceptable, no problem at all in that. But and also always remember this, I have a different length of indexes as well. So in one I have 3 elements, in 2 I have 4 elements, right? So always remember this as a fact as well. So now take a quick guess, or just apply your brains. Okay, let's try to think of this. What do you think the Python should return me? Whether this will give me an error or it will run, or if you think it will run, what would be the potential output? Okay, just take quick 1 minute, guys, and if you're there in the chat, please drop in your answers. Hello Sangram, I hope you're doing well. I just noticed your text. Thank you for joining in. Okay, Anirban says error and length should be the same. Hello Kapish, I hope you are doing well. Any other answers, right? Sangram, do you want to try this? Cool. Let's see this, guys. Exactly. It will not throw an error. Okay. And anyway, Anirban, good try. Yeah, that's what we have expected earlier. Okay. But again, Abhishek, okay, I think I ran it earlier. It will not give an nan also. Okay. So what it does, it will simply it will simply take the first base, okay, and it will map it to the indexes till when the value is needed in the second input list. Okay, so the first thing is you need to understand the power function inbuilt has to take two elements, two of your arguments by default, because in power we have to give a base and an exponent, right? So it by default takes two. Okay, so it has not been mapped with map, rather it is the functionality of power which is supposed to be given inside my a map function. Okay, so that is the reason why two arguments are fine, because it is actually been worked on top of power. Power by default expects two of your arguments by default. Okay, and then when we use power as a functionality, it will always take the first base as your number of index, the length index which is required, and then based on length it will filter out the what all elements the list wants to get manipulated on. Okay, and then again not given nan also. Okay, it's a very good example. That is the reason why I put it for you here. Okay, so power is one of the odd functionalities. Otherwise, it would have given nan. Very well observed, Abhishek. Okay, yes. By default, if you use some other functionalities, right? I'll show you in your next examples also. It will return nan where the values are not there. But in power itself, it will not return nan. It will return the length of the indexes where my base is, what my length of my base is. Okay, so that is the reason why I give you this example. Cool, guys. Okay. Cool. So we did this. Okay, now I'm doing the similar thing. Okay, so let's try to do this. Now I have a different thing, different objective. Okay, so now what I want, the function to return me the square and the cubes also. Okay, so what I'm doing here, I'm returning both the values, square and the cube. So what I want to pass a list. Okay, and on that elements of the list, I want the function to return me both square and your cubes. Okay, so there will be two outputs. Okay, now the first question is, can we use map on top of this, and can map function take this additional user defined function directly on top of my map representation? Just a quick yes or no, guys. Can we pass this powers which I have created externally here, powers as a function? Right, cool. Let's try to do that. Okay, so as you know, first I write map. Okay, so inside map I want to, so what is the syntax? Inside I have to find some function, right? So function plus at the type my collection. So this is my syntax, right? So let's try to map it on top of it. Okay, let's try to write the code. Okay, so now I've written map. Okay, so what my function is, under the function this is my powers, right? So this is what I want to call, and now power, now you can observe one thing here, guys. Okay, so power is nothing, it has not turned green, but here the good thing to note is power has a reference as a function, right? So yes, you guys are absolutely right, we can use power here. Okay, so we can call power directly on top of my functionality. Okay, now I'm passing numbers. Okay, so this is my collection, so collection is about my numbers, right? And now I want to see this entire thing as a list. Cool, guys. This should run, right? Now quickly, guys, I want you to give me a result for this. So always remember, we are not returning a single value. Okay, we are returning two different values here, the squares and the cubes. Okay, so just take a quick guess, or just apply your own brains. Okay, I think you guys have already given me this answer some time back. Okay, so I want you to give me an answer in the format this will return me. Okay, so just give me an answer. Okay, just formulate your answer in form the Python will give me as. Just a quick 30 seconds or 45 seconds, guys. Good question on it one. Yes. So return again can take any number of values as you will be giving it. It can take even 100 return values. Okay. So yes, if you want to return multiple values of a functionality, so like when we go ahead, right, so we're going to write some big functions, right? So under that function there will be multiple variables which you will be creating, and you might be wanting all of those variables to be returned by that function, right? So if you want to return say n variables, you can write m here, x here, y here, just by commas. If you keep separating it by commas, those many variables with the same sequence, it will be returned. So number plus the sequence is very important here. Okay. Hey Sagar, thank you so much for your feedback. Yeah, I'm okay. I'm not really looking for the numbers. I'm okay to teach even one student if he's okay to learn. So for me, numbers are not important. For me, interaction is more important. But thank you again for your feedback. If you want to join in, please join in the club. You'll be the fifth one, right? Cool. So let's try to run it. Okay. So let's see the result. Sorry, my mistake. Just powers. Okay. Now, can you see the output? Yes, very nice, Sangram. Very nice, Anirban. Absolutely right, guys. So what it is returning, absolutely. What it is returning, it is giving me the combination of results. If you remember, guys, I think somebody answered, I think yesterday, I think Aditya was the guy. He answered it yesterday and he gave me in one of the answers where x plus 10 was required and he gave x plus 10 and x both, right? But in that expression, I was only returning x plus 10. I was not expecting x plus 10 and x, right? But here I'm returning two different outputs, right? And two different outputs for all of the elements. So one would be converted, one would be mapped into two outputs, right? So here two outputs. So first is my square and the second is my cube, right? And this entire thing is one single element, right? So 1 comma 1 under the brackets, which is my tuple. Tuple is a non-mutable version of a list, right? So we cannot edit it. So, and that's what it has been returned, right? It's again, always remember, guys. So did we change the number of elements here? No. So we still have the 4 elements in the input. We still have the 4 elements in the output. So the functionality of map has been kept intact, but now we have changed, we have converted this input collection to a mutated collection where I needed the same function to be represented in both squares as well as cubes, guys. So you can see this, right? So that's the beauty of your map function as well. So you can actually use it the way you want. So now you can just imagine the applications of it, right? So whenever you're actually working in some of your stuff, right? So you can actually mutate your entire collection the way you want it. So you can do whatever you want, and then you can return multiple values also at the same time. You've already seen it, right? It's a good learning. Thank you again so much, guys, for interacting so much. So let's quickly jump to another one. Okay, so I have given you a good one here. So now till date we have been seeing things on numbers, right? So let's try to do something on strings. Why not, right? So okay. First of all, quickly, can we apply map on strings, or map will only work with numbers? Just a quick yes or no, guys. Can we apply map on strings as well? What do you think? Yes, absolutely, right? Why not? Absolutely, we can do that. Anything, any sequence, any collection. Very well said, Abhishek. Any sequence, any collection, we can apply it. That's the beauty of it, right? So definitely we can apply it. Let's try to do that. Okay, or do you want to guys try? Okay, so what my question here is, I want to do an uppercase. So I have some strings here. I is caps, and here LOVE is small, MY is small, and in this INDI, A is capital, I is capital. So what I want the output strings should be is like I love all caps. Okay, so I want I love my India. Okay, this is what I want. Okay, so I want to convert this entire string to be caps. Okay, and there is a functionality. I'll just give you a hint. Okay, so there is something called as str.upper. Okay, so it's a direct functionality available. So str is for string, and then upper is a functionality, guys. Okay, so if you use directly str.upper, and if you pass the strings on top of it, right? So let's try to see this. Okay, it won't take it like this, but anyway, so I'll tell you the right answer for this also, but str.upper would give me the exact same answers. Okay, so str.upper is what I'm looking for you from this. Can you guys quickly just try the things on map? Okay, so we're gonna do it through map. Can you just quickly do things on map? I'll give you 45 seconds to 1 minute to try it. So I want you to write the code. Okay, so write the code in form of map. Okay, so try to map this string. So we want to use every element of the string. Okay, so we're gonna not convert into this. So let's, okay, I don't want this to be printed first. Okay, so I want it in the form of this this list only first. We'll talk about the concatenation later. So what I want is this. Okay, I love my India. Okay, this is what I want. Okay, so forget about the concatenation first. Okay, so I want to use this. Can you guys write the code directly using the map functionality? You have exactly 45 seconds. I think it's easy to do that. Okay, so we have one answer, and Abhishek says yes. So lambda s and s dot upper, and then I'm gonna pass my strings. Okay, cool. Yes, definitely we can do that. Any other questions, guys? Any other answers on top of Abhishek's response? Sangram, Anirban, you guys, anything from your side? Okay, then let's try to add what just Abhishek said. So yes, so we're gonna map it to what? My functionality is lambda, and I'm saying x or even s. Okay, so what Abhishek said, s, and then I'm doing s dot upper. So that's my functionality is, right? And then on top of this, I'm gonna pass my strings, and ultimately I'm gonna see it as part of my list. Okay, fair enough. Yes. Right, so that's your functionality. So this is what I want to do. This is my function, and I'm passing my string. So definitely, guys, we can use it on strings, anything. So if you want to use lower cap, there are a lot of string functionalities which anyway we're going to be covering. So whatever functionality which you're going to do on strings as well, that can be incorporated on top of your map. Okay, so no doubts in that. Cool. Now one good question for you. This is my last one on map. Okay, so I have actually used some other functionalities also. I've tried to add a bit of a complexity here. Okay, yes, upper is again an inbuilt function, but on top of string. Okay, so string dot upper, so that's what it does. Okay, cool, guys. No, we cannot write only upper, because upper is not again a direct inbuilt function, but it's a functionality under string. So you have to write string dot upper. Okay, so or whatever you're passing string as. So string basically here is my the s which I'm passing, and it is referring to my strings. So yes, we have to write s dot upper. So it cannot take, so it's an object under your strings. Okay, and we know in Python for all the objects function we have to use the dot on top of my object head, right? So that's how we're gonna call it. So it's not directly an inbuilt function, but a functionality under my strings. So that's how we're gonna call it. Cool. Okay, now let's try to read this code first. Okay, it's a very good one. I have tried to add a bit of a complexity here. I have added few more I would say concepts also. Okay, I'll try to teach you that first, and then we'll go to the answers. Okay, quickly, guys. So can you see something? Try and accept. Okay, very good keywords, very good inbuilt functionalities available in Python. Okay, so now for example, just assume that suppose you're running a code. Okay, anything on code. Say for example, you have a list which says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, that's an ideal list, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And just in case maybe some data is corrupt or something like that, okay, that 3 has been replaced with say A. Okay, so now you have a list which was expected to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but now it is 1, 2, A, 4, 5. Okay, so now instead of this list to be called as an int data type, it can be called as a object only, because I do not have an int object here, right? So I have an object here, right? So I have a string. So this entire series cannot be called as an int data type, right? So that's a problem for me. So now what if I'm doing some functionality on top of list? So I'm doing say list plus 1. So I want all the elements to be added with 1. So wherever the numbers are, so 1 and 2 will be added with 1 because that's a number. But can you add 1 to string? You cannot, right? So that'll give me an error, right? So just think of this scenario when you are running this code, right? So whenever you get an error in Python, your code actually blocks out there. Your code abruptly stops. So whatever functionality has to be done after that. So you are left with 4 and 5, right? So you wanted to add 1 on 4 and 5 as well, but since you got an error at 3, expected 3, but you have an A there, right? So you got an error. So the code will stop functioning there. So it'll throw you an error and it'll come out of the loop. It'll come out of the operation itself. Okay. So that's how it happens in Python. But to tackle such kind of a problem, we have a very good functionality available in Python, which is try and except. Okay. So what it does is try. So try statement means that. So it's like you can see the indexing here, right? So indentation here. So if I give an enter here, so by default I'm coming under my float. So this part. So this is where I have to write try. Okay. So under try, if again you have to, the syntax is like this. So try colon and then you give an enter, it'll come into the indented line of your code. Okay. So what it does, it will do the job wherever the code will execute. Okay. So if you want to add, say list plus 1, right? So you want to write like this. So suppose I'm doing creating a function. So def add 1, okay, and then I'm passing a list here, okay, and then what I want number to be added. So I want addition of 1, right? This is what I want. So I would have done try. So under try I have to write things which I want the list to be performing. Okay, so I want list plus 1, right? So I want what? So list plus 1. This is what I want, right? But now I'm adding a additional case in case whenever if this this thing is working on, if there is any error on top of this, it should execute this. Okay, so except gives me a buffer to perform such code or to perform such activity where I'm having the error in that functionalities or wherever the error is there, right? So it will do that job. So in except what I just want that number to be converted to say int. Okay, so int of list. I'm just giving you a very vague example. Okay, so this is what I want to do. So now just look at this code. What I'm trying to do here is, so okay, so that's the beauty of try and catch, try and except. Okay, so try will do the job which is expected from the piece of code. Okay, in case it gets any error, so I have another functionality written. So instead of coming out of the code, for that particular error piece, it will run this part. It will not run this part, it will run this part. Cool, guys? Any questions in try and except? Please, I'm going to give you 10 more seconds. If you have any questions in try and except, please feel free to drop in a text and I can repeat it again. Or else we can go ahead for the code computations. This is a very good concept in Python. I wanted to introduce this. So we're gonna use it further ahead in our codes also. So try and except is actually a very good functionality. So just assume that something is running in prod, right, in your production environment, in your business, right, and something goes down. For example, any bad thing happened, right? So any data corruption, whatever the issue is. Do you want everything to shut down or do you want to run the show, right? You will obviously want to run the show, right? If it's okay to get an error, whenever there is an error, just forget that and just go ahead with the next computation, right? So that's what we want, right? So that's where try and except comes into picture. So if there is any unexpected error in your code, it will skip that part and go for the next computation. Or if you want to do something else in that error part also, you can do that. So that's what I'm doing here. So I'm converting into a float, for example. We were converting into an int in the previous example, right? So that's what we can do. Clear, guys? Any questions? Any questions on try and except? Cool. Then just quickly try to understand what's happening in this code. Okay. See, so now in this try, what I'm doing is I'm again introducing another function. Okay, replace. Okay, so replace is again a very good functionality available under strings. Okay, so it is not available under your int, it is available under your strings always. Okay, so replace is used under your strings. So now don't look at this list as of now. Okay, so just look at this piece of code. So this piece of code, what it's trying to do is, if your string contains comma, replace this comma with dot. Okay, so if you look at the documentation of replace also, right? So that's how it is. So replace, it takes the thing which you want to replace as your first argument, and the thing which you want it to be replaced with. Okay, so that's your second argument. So here I want, if any element contains any comma, I want to replace this comma with dot. Okay, so that's what I want to do, and then ultimately convert this entire thing, the entire string, into float. Okay, so by default here this part should be my string. So that is my expectation, because I'm using dot replace, and dot replace is used only for strings. Okay, and if things goes well, run this. If things fails, if there is some error, okay, so in that case run this float nan. Okay, so you're gonna write, you're gonna return a missing value, or just write say missing. Okay, something like that. Cool. Any doubt here? Okay, now let's try to do this. So I have a list prepared for you. So now I'm passing this float conversion as your function here under my map, and this is my collection, guys. Look at this very carefully. Okay, so first of all, look at this. I am passing my numbers as form of strings, because I have a quote on top of my numbers, all of my numbers, right? Now look at the numbers very carefully. Okay, very carefully. Now please just take 1 minute of time and try to read out this code and give me the output for this. What do you think the output would be? You have the function, I have explained you how the function works. Now just give me an output for this. Just try to apply your brains, and what do you think the output would be for this? Any questions, please feel free to drop in the text. Okay, so we have one answer. Anirban says 15.6, 2.8, minus 25.1, and nan. Okay, cool, great. Thank you so much, Anirban, for your response. Anybody else also wants to try? Maybe Abhishek, Sangram, anybody else? We had Sagar also, I think he left. Cool. Abhishek also says the same thing. Okay, cool, guys. Let's try to run it then. Absolutely right, guys. Exactly, this is what it did, right? So first so 15.6, no issues here. It has converted into float. So that data type from string has been converted into my float, right? And then here I had a comma here, 2,8, right? So for this there is no issue. It will go into this part. So the comma will be replaced with dot and eventually will float. So 2.8 minus 25.1. But for this 4, guys, right? So as I've told you, it will not. So here I do not have any comma here, right? So here till here it will work. But can you do float of 4? No, it's a string. I cannot do a string of float, right? So it will give me an error. It will give me an exception. So for this exception, it will not give me an error. The code will not give me an error. It will check for the except part. Okay, so from here it will go here. Look at this. So now it is returning a float of nan. Okay, I'm just returning nothing but a nan variable here. This is what it did, right? Fair enough. I'm okay with that. So that's what my output is. Clear, guys? I hope so. Today we covered very important topics. Try and accept. Okay, so try and accept are very good concept in Python. So if you think that your code might expect any error while you run it in your real-time business, so then try and accept comes into play. So if you have to handle your exception, if you do not want a code to give you an error and moves out of the execution, then you have to use this concept, try and accept. Okay, so we're gonna do a few more exercises later, but not on the map part. Okay, so with this we have completed our map also. Okay, so I'm gonna introduce you to the reduce functionality today. So we're gonna cover few of them today, right? So I don't want to rush into this, but I want to introduce this reduce also. It's one of the for us it's a third functionality of Lambda on top of which we are trying to understand. But again, we want to understand how exactly reduce works. Okay, so we have seen filter and map. Okay, so now we have reduce. Okay, so I'll just give you the initial usage of reduce first. Okay, so then we'll try to see how it works. Okay, so now in filter, you guys have realized that filter is so if I have say n elements in my collection, filter will give me n minus some elements. So whatever computation results is, right? So the final output would be reduction in some of the elements. Okay, so based on my computation. In map what it does, it'll keep intact. It'll remain intact the number of elements of my original collection. So number of elements will remain the same. Rather, on top of it, some computation would have happened. So whatever I am passing as a function, okay, so I can do that. So number of elements will remain the same. On the contrary, reduce what it does, the output would be a single output. Okay, so whatever your element is, whatever your number of elements there in your collection, ultimately the objective of reduce is to give you a single point output. Okay, so it will actually collapse your collection to a single scalar value. Scalar value can be anything again. So it can be number, it can be integer, whatever, or it can be float, it can be string. So whatever data type we want to use. So still work on a string, but it will give me a single output. Okay, so a single output, and end result will be the number of elements would be 1. Okay, so the output would be a single element, right? So that's the usage of reduce. So now again, you can ask me when to use map, when to use filter, when to use reduce. It again, guys, depends on your usage, what exactly you want to perform, right? So if you expect a final output to be a single output, right? So you want to say, for example, you want to take a sum of the entire list. Okay, so that's one thing which you might be doing, or a product of your entire list, right? So anything which you want, so which is a single output, right? So in that case, reduce is your option. Okay, so now important thing to note is how to call reduce. Okay, so now as filter and map, so they were the inbuilt functionalities of Python, right? So I could call map directly. So I can use map because it turned green, right? So filter is map is an inbuilt function. Likewise, filter, it also turned green. So it is an inbuilt function. But see, reduce is not an inbuilt function. Okay, so we have a library, func tools. Okay, so func tools is a library where it has a function of reduce, right? So reduce is a part of my func tools library. Okay, so whenever you have to call reduce as a function, you have to first import func tools. Okay, so I'll do that. So I'll quickly do it here. Okay, So I'll call functools. Now functools dot reduce, because functool is my parent name. Or guys, and you also know, right? So we can use any alias also. So like functools as f. Okay. So I can use here, instead of functools, I can use f dot reduce also, right? You're already aware of this. Now if I run this, it'll give me an error, but yeah, see. Now here in this reduce, I can see some documentation. So now reduce has been identified as a function, right? So in what it can take a function and a sequence. So same syntax, right? So it can take a function, and then it can take a collection, right? Same thing. So let's do one exercise quickly, and then we can see how it goes. So let's try to do this. Okay, it's a simple one, pretty simple one. So let's do this. Okay, so now look at this. So I'm just trying to do a sum, okay, sum of my list. Okay, so here I'm importing functool. So functools dot reduce to call my reduce function, and this whole part is my function, what I want to do, and then I'm passing my alias, which is my list, and it is having some elements here, right? And what I want, I just want a plus b. That's what I want, right? It should work. Okay, so functool is not defined, say f, right? Cool. Did you see it? So at the end, I have the final result as a single point value, right? So which is the sum of my entire collection, sum of my entire list, all the elements of my list. Okay, so that's what it did. So what I'm doing here, so see, just look at the objective first. Okay, don't look at the solution. So look at the objective. Why I'm doing it? Filter gave me a certain elements lesser than the input objective. Map, it kept intact my number of elements, but reduce gave me a single output here, guys, right? So that's what the importance of reduce is. So always remember the objective of your problem statement, okay, what you're trying to do. So if you want a single output, if that's the expectation, you have to use reduce, and that is under your functools as a library. Okay, so quickly install functools in your Python bot, whatever you're using, PyCharm or whatever you are using. So you can install functools. So again, to install it, as I said, you can do pip install functools. It should work fine. You have to run it in your command prompt or a conda prompt, whatever you're using. Okay, so you have to run it in the prompt, or if you're using Jupyter also, you can do like this. So you can just put an exclamation mark before functools and it'll run. Okay, so you can actually install your libraries from a notebook also. So you have to just write exclamation mark on before your pip, so it will work. Okay, so I've already installed it, so it will not run, so it will just give me that already satisfied. Okay, so that's how it is. So that's what I wanted to cover, guys. So I think we can stop for the day. You have any questions? Abhishek, accumulate also does exactly right. So accumulate also does the same thing, but again, so I can maybe cover accumulate in the next session. But yes, absolutely right. So accumulate also give you a single point output. It will also give me, it will also do the similar job as the reduce does. Okay, so but again, reduce is most frequently used on top of lambda, so that's why I kept it as an example. But again, yes, to answer your question, accumulate also does the same thing. Right, any questions, guys? So maybe we can stop for the day. If you have any questions, we can take that up. So tomorrow what we're gonna do, we're gonna run some few exercises of reduce, so not much, so I think plain simple things. And again, most importantly, we're gonna jump towards our sorting. Okay, sorting is again very good functionalities of lambda, very good functionalities. I have very good examples set up for you on sorting. So we're gonna jump towards sorting tomorrow. So sorting again has multiple ways. So we have an application of lambda on top of sorting. So I'll show you how to use lambda on top of sorting. Okay, so sorting, as you know, it's by default, it's like how you're gonna sort your data, so by some things, right? So yeah, so we're gonna talk about that tomorrow. But again, for today, if you have any questions, guys, anything, any suggestion also is fine. So any feedback, any questions, anything which you want to talk about, so we can spend another 4-5 minutes. I'm all ears to your questions. And thank you so much, Abhishek, yes, for being so active, and even to you guys also, Sangram, right? So that's how we gonna learn. So that's what the pattern we have kept in our lectures. So we'll do it the same way. So again, if you guys have any feedback, comments, or if you want to change anything, right? So anything which you want to add in the content also, please keep on telling me, right? So I'll try to add with the best of my knowledge. So I try to add different set of questions, different complexities to the best of my knowledge again, right? But again, if you still feel that I'm missing out on something, so I think accumulate, I can take that as a feedback, Abhishek. So I can add accumulate also for just to show you how it works tomorrow, right? So I can do that. But again, apart from this also, guys, if you feel anything which is missing or which you want me to cover, like we discussed about pandas, right? So which way we're doing it. So anything else also feel free to tell me. So I'm all ears. Any questions, guys? Any questions? Thank you so much, Anirban. Thank you so much for making it a live session, this live session worthy. Okay, and thank you so much to you, Abhishek, Sangram, and Sagar, and all of you guys to be alive in this chat. So that's how we're gonna learn. Okay, let's make it that way. So yes, guys. So we can wrap up for the day. We can take any further questions if you have it. Maybe tomorrow early half, then you wanna start. Okay. Cool. So see you tomorrow at the same time, 7 p.m. So we're gonna cover the remaining functionalities of reduce, and then we're gonna quickly jump. We're gonna jump towards sorting. So that's what the target is for tomorrow. Okay, cool, guys. I'm gonna give you back your weekend. Towards your evening, and then stay safe. Have a good dinner, and then keep learning. See you tomorrow, guys. Bye bye.